called to order. Let us stand, please. Father, we give thanks to you in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for keeping us safe. We ask that you will bless this community, bless the children as they begin this school year. We ask that you will help us to be for you what we cannot be for ourselves. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Let us take a moment, please, and bow our heads in a moment of silence. Our state representative, Francis Thompson, had a tragedy in his family that you may have heard about, where two of his family members lost their lives. So let us remember them with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Moving forward with the business at hand. Where's my agenda? Oh, yeah, here it is. There's underneath something. Thank you. Roll call.
Ms. Stafford. Here. Mr. Bradford.
Here.
Mr. James Green.
Here.
Mr. Jed Green.
Present.
Mr. Lott. They're all present.
All right, thank you. I'm going to forego announcements so that we can go ahead and get into the business at hand. I will have announcements and updates in our regular meeting. Are there any public comments as it relates to items on this agenda? Okay. That brings us to item number 5, appoint a city auditor. You received some communication in reference to the importance of appointing an auditor. My recommendation for appointment is Ms. Cindy Haynes. She is familiar with everything, and we have a lot at stake here. So at this time, I will entertain a motion.
Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Sandra, Alderman, either one of y'all can answer. The 22 to 23 year, was Ms. Cindy paid by the city of Bastrop?
Yes, sir.
The reason I asked, because last week we asked you that question, you stated she hadn't yet been paid. So speaking with, all right, so can you tell me what she been paid for?
She was paid to do the audit for 2021. The 2021.
So that's 2 years ago?
In the 2021-22 budget. We did not get that completed until December of 2022.
So the budget this payment, the 22-23 budget was to pay for work she did in 21-22?
Right, the audit that Mayor Cotton finished up, she did that. That she's not billed for a 2022 budget.
So this is the 45,000?
Not right.
Okay, appreciate it.
I think Ms. Moore mentioned that too, during the meeting, or finance or something, but yeah, she's not billed us not one penny for the 2022 budget.
Why is she running so, why is so far behind?
Okay, well, on Mayor Cotton's budget, we have a lot of tragedy. We were behind, I lost 2 employees for COVID, and we were just shorthanded, and we just didn't get through with it. And she was waiting on respond to some findings, and that took some time. It took a lot of time to respond to the findings they found.
So Mr. Cotton left at the end of 21, correct?
He left in June 30th of
21.
21.
So we 2023, and you saying 2 years from now, that's the budget, that's what we paying for?
We paid her for the 2021 budget's what we paid her for.
In 23?
Not 23.
No, I'm saying we paying her for.
We paid her in December. We finished paying her in December, I think it was, of 2020. She didn't finish till December the 31st of 2022.
And we had a few
We
extra
probably paid her
days.
in January, the
Hold
rest of it.
on, Ms. Andrews, you're taking me fast. So, the 2021 budget, when did she complete it?
The 2021 budget, she completed it before Mayor Hawkins through, but Mayor Cotton was in June of 2021.
Okay, so
that budget ended June of 21. She did not finish it till December of 2022.
which is, she should have been paid in.
She budget, as she works on it, she bills us.
So he left in 2021, right?
He
He
did.
left in June 2021. So Mayor took over July 2021.
Right.
So you saying that budget she finished in December 2022?
Yes, sir.
That's a year later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's almost.
Well,
Yes.
let me chime in on that. All across the state, COVID municipalities have been impacted. And we were severely impacted by it because we were operating shorthanded. As Ms. Goldman indicated, we lost some employees. They had to be retrained. We had findings that had to be addressed. All of it took time. So,
Okay.
And also, Mayor, that is when they started giving out all this COLA money, which made more auditing and reporting to the federal on all this federal money.
So
that even took longer.
So the 22-23 budget, did you guys engage in any type of contract with Ms. Cindy to do the audit?
We did, yes, sir.
So by law, she not bound to fulfill that contract?
Yes, sir, she's.
So even if we do not appoint her, by law, she's still bound to fulfill that.
We did appoint her to do that audit last year.
I can answer that. I just hung up with the state and asked them those same questions. And she said that if we engaged in engagement of Ms. Haynes, she is by law legally binded to complete that audit report. She's legally binded. So regardless if we appoint her or not, she has to complete it.
Has she been paid or not? Are we in an agreement with her?
No, she's not been paid for anything.
No. Even though if she hasn't been paid, still don't matter. She's in an agreement. Like when you paid her when she got finished with the last one. She didn't get paid to the end, but she's still in agreement. She's obligated to finish up this budget. I mean, this.
Correct.
It's the 2022 budget we appointed her then, and she's gotta finish that one.
That's what we're doing.
It has nothing to do with the 2023 budget
So
that we're trying to do now.
For corrections, so the 2021 budget, she didn't finish it until 2022.
December, yes.
So now we at 22-23 budget, which supposed to have been done December of 2023. Got an extension to September, so she looking to do it another. She don't have the time.
No, it wasn't her fault. It was not her fault, it's me. We're just inundated with the stuff to get it to her. But she has not got paid to do, she's not received any money, nor has she billed us any money for 2022. But we haven't.
Well, I would like to bring in some other CPA companies and talk to them about possibly assuming the auditor role.
Ms. Goldman, would you go and get that letter from the legislative auditor
I
about
talked to him, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I talked to him personally, and this is what she said, that was the,
oh, excuse me, Ms. Goldman, would you go get a letter so that everybody will have it? I left mine down at the,
We all have it, I know mine, got mine.
go ahead. Ms. Tappan, you can go ahead and read it if you like. Here.
I read it, what, the one that's in our packet?
Yeah.
Oh, I read it, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But I wanted to call her personally, and I did. And I spoke to her, and she said that she was obligated, legally obligated to complete that, audit report that was due December 31st, 2022. And that is just my preference. If we call other companies in order to, talk to them to see, are they even willing to take the city auditor's position?
Okay. We'll talk about what's at stake here while we do this. We need somebody by the end of this month. This is what, in my conversation, as of yesterday, and we have a playground grant. We have $1 million lift station in Holden. We got the roof on the city hall, which is over $700,000. We have the airport grant. So I was informed that it would be bad, really bad, if we didn't have a letter of engagement.
Well, Mayor, what
Yes, sir.
Miss, cause the thing that you stated,
Yes, sir.
that's more like day-to-day activities. When you prepare an audit, you prepare an audit for the end of the year.
Okay.
So what you saying, the things you just named wouldn't prevent. It's not like Miss Cindy or anybody have to be here every day to do that.
Okay.
You can pay an auditor to come in at the end of the fiscal year. So
Okay.
so it's, you don't need what you make it seem like we need an auditor full time around the clock.
No, that's,
Right.
I'm glad you asked
So
that.
listen,
That's not what I'm
let me-
saying.
Let me
We have
finish,
to
man,
have
let me
a-
finish. So what I'm saying is, Miss Cindy got paid to do, she entered into a contract to do the 22-23 budget. So we have that taken care of. So on the 23-24 budget, we have time to get another city auditor if she not passed. Because the end of the fiscal year for the 23-24 budget is June of 2024.
Okay, and we're working to get all of that done simultaneously, as Ms. Golden indicated. And this is a problem that not only has affected Bastrop, I don't want y'all to think that Bastrop is not doing what it's supposed to do. It has been a lot to undertake with COVID money and accountability and grants and all of that. But this is what I was told as of yesterday, the letter of engagement. So,
We already have one there.
okay,
Miss Sandra just stated that we entered into an engagement with Miss Cindy, which make her liable for the 22-23 budget. Obligated for the 22-23 budget. Now, hence, we have to appoint or find an auditor if Miss Cindy is not approved by the end of the fiscal year, which would be June of 2024. That give us 9 months.
well, I want to make sure, I was told by the end of this month, and we're trying to get caught up.
And I agree, that's what, she did tell me that we needed to get something in motion, to at least have somebody in mind by the end of the month. She did say that.
But that's for the 23-24 budget?
Correct.
Because the 22-23 budget, we already have somebody
Right.
who's supposed to perform, who obligated to do those duties.
Right.
So we supposed to be caught up. I guess hence why we keep getting the extensions. But we gotta see if she gonna get appointed, so I would just make a suggestion.
Okay, Mr. Bradford, you had a question?
Well, my question is as plain as daylight. COVID, everybody went through COVID, we all had our setback. I lost a granddaughter in COVID, I had to keep functioning. I had obligated to keep my home and my family intact. And municipalities and most agencies they were given excess money to hire, to make sure they keep their responsibilities to the citizen. That's inexcusable to me. We're behind in our 21, 22 budget. Audited, have not been filed with due December 31st, 22. We're behind. We're behind in our 22, 23 budget, amended budget. We haven't filed that. That's sitting on the tape here. I don't know if we have a budget for 23, 24 yet, because I've seen 10 come across my desk. And I don't know exactly, I'm confused. I'll be truthful with you, I don't know. And it's just a matter of doing things in a timely manner. We had a day-to-day operational help hired made over $20,000, $30,000, and we still don't have a budget. Okay? Now we're kicking this can down the road. I feel that we should bring in a state audit. Let the state come into Bastrop Louisiana, put our books in order, but we can stop going around because we can't pay in, we can't give raises, we can't do anything. The mayor just said they get a 30 day. Well, I like to make a motion that we turn our books over to the Louisiana Treasury State Audit for investigation and let us know what we have. Right now, I wish the clerk was here. She cannot tell us, because she's seen to have all the money and taking all the excuses, taking all the blame. Right now, we do not know at this point, as we speak, what the city of Bastrop really worth. Well, if you don't know what you're worth, you can't know if you can give a 10-cent raise, a $2 raise, a dime, no raise in anything. We're stuck because we don't know. No one can come forward, excuse me, and tell us what we were. And we know what we were, we know which route to go. We don't know what we were. I like to have a motion, make a motion to, I'll wait up and get back. But I want my motion still to flow, that we turn our books over to the audit, but they won't come in here and bring criminal charges or, I think the last state audit that we had, they said our books, we would not, had no check and balance to our books. Our books was out of order for 2 decades. 2 decades. And we still going through the same thing. What they tell us, we need to do things a little different. I can't say anybody took anything, but I can say we need to get on the same page with what we have as a city government. I can't say that. I'm not accusing anybody of taking anything, but let the state come in and say, okay, we're going through your books. We're going to say, now here's what you were. And then when we see that as a government body, we can start making financial decisions. Because we tell the people in the city, the workers, to carry on the day-to-day operation out there in these trees and limbs and all that stuff that people complain about. Excuse me. All the things we complain about, the people complain about, we can't get it done. We don't have tractors, we don't have air conditioning, we don't have generators, we short of firemen, we short of police officers, we short of public work officers. We need to get ourselves together so we can be a productive city. We want to be a productive city. We don't want to keep hollering, we can't do because we can't do that. Then everybody we can pay some people, and I'm not going to get a name calling, we can open up a position and pay some people $17 an hour, and we can't pay the people, the public work, the parks, the cemetery people, $11, $12. Can't give them $2 raise. What they tell you? We don't know what we're worth. We don't know what we can do. I would like to think everybody sitting at this council table would like to see everybody make a fair living from the city government. We cannot hire people at the rate we're going at because we don't offer them enough. I talked to several young men in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they laughed at me. I can go to Burger King and do that. In other words, what can we do? What are we worth? And those are the things we need to ask ourselves. Because we 6 or 7, 8 budgets in the last 4 weeks, and we still ain't got no revenue. Last week we say give a $2, get another packet. We're gonna break it down 10 cents, 15 cents, 30 cents. That's an insult to the body, to this government. And when Ms. Goldman come back, whenever she come back, I like my motion to be heard, and to take, let's do it and get it over with. We don't have nothing to hide. Let the state say, here's where the city of Bastrop stands. This is your ratio. This is your city ratio. This is what you were. Are you a 5.0 or 2.2 or 5.5? See, that go back in years. Now we had stuff. I heard Mr. Green speak about stuff. D. Green, excuse me, and J. Green, by the way. And they went back years talking about surplus. We never got a clear answer on surplus. We should have a surplus over the. I've never known the city of Bastrop have this issue. We done, we didn't have any money left at the end of the year. I mean, go back 20 years. We should be roughly $200 or $300 million. You go back to the Clarence Hawkins administration. This has not been given to the people of Flavor. I wouldn't make those deals on that mercy. Because she's in the hand of the book. And we're not accusing anybody of stealing anything. We said, let's come in compliance so we can be on time. We can look like a productive city. Our people think we go. Our people and our community can have something to look up to, Our firefighters, our police officers. We're all one unit of people. And this governing body, I know the mayor probably doing what she can with like I said, I know the things she walked into, don't get me wrong. Okay? But we need to get it straight. And we're not gonna get it straight every other week. We got a new budget, we got a listing change, we vote on this, we gonna hire a contractor to cut the grass. Nobody hired a contractor yet to cut a piece of grass right here. Okay? And it's still going. Please, let the state. Again, Ms. Gold, we got a motion on the floor. I like to.
Wait just a minute. We are on item number 5.
We on order.
Mr. Jones.
Let me get a point of information first.
Mr. Jones.
Mayor, I want a point of information before we move on to Mr. Jones. I got a question. So when you say state audit, we're not, it's two different things when you say state audit. Do we want a state auditor to come in or a state manager to come in and take over the city?
No, not take over. The state audit treasurer office can come here and do an audit on our city. They will not take over our city.
Oh, I just want for clarity.
No, they won't take over. I'm sorry, he asked you that question, but go ahead.
So,
John, go ahead.
Councilman Bradford, to give you the law on that, it's 24:513, and there's a enumerated circumstances underneath A4A, of which the state can, in their decision, they don't have to, they may audit or investigate a local auditee. First provision is you have to, any one of these they can do. So a motion is not going to carry it from the board. You would have to meet one of these criteria that's in the law.
Oh, excuse me, I disagree with you. What the board has power to bring any motion they like to, and the state doesn't, the law doesn't limit us from acting and conducting. I disagree. I agree with that percentage you said.
Correct.
I also looked at the law as well, and I also have talked to Baton Rouge. They also told us we could do it.
You can make the motion, I'm just saying there's a criteria on it.
Yeah, well, we can make a motion. Again, let me get to the motion. We want the motion now. Let's start again, since let's go with you, please. I'd like to make a motion that the city of Bastrop requests investigation by the treasurer and state of audit to look into our books and see if they bring us in compliance with what we need to be. I'd like to make a motion. I heard a second.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do.
We are on item.
We got a second motion. We got to change the motion.
If you're expanding the agenda.
No, we're not expanding, we're making a motion on this audit. Everything come on the audit. We're still talking about audit. We're still on what is number 5 audit. And that's what we're asking the state to do, to come in and audit the books of the city of Bastrop.
I got a question.
Sure.
Mr.
J. Green. My point is, so you want them to audit, but we usually audit when the auditor finds something. She ain't turning no audit for nothing to be found just yet.
Who's that, our audit?
Yes, our audit.
Our audit have done nothing for them.
I know.
We are not complying with it. That's why the state needs to come in and bring our books. The state can come in and look into your book, just like Mr. Jones said, and look at your book and correct error and move you forward. Then then while they're doing that, we could be looking for another audit if we choose to. I'm not saying Ms. Haynes done anything, it's not about rolling the right, it's talking about getting on the right track.
I
You
understand.
know, I mean, cause we keep going with this, Brother Green, we'll go on, when we get into the next item, resolution, we're gonna break out and fight again about the $2.10. See? And then we'll adjourn, we go home, we get nothing done. That's not fair to the citizens of this community. We get nothing done.
Mr. J. Green?
I was just saying, audit, when we investigate something, like, you can investigate, 22, 23, because it was some findings that they say they corrected, but it's kinda hard to do 20, this year's thing, because she haven't done 2022, right? 22, 23, have she done anything on it?
She's gotta do the 22, 23.
Yeah,
She's
that's
gotta
what
do
I'm
the
getting
21, 22.
No, I'm talking about, what is she,
Hold on, she haven't did the 21, 22 either?
No, she finished that one, she's gotta do the 21, 22. She's not done the 22, 23.
22,
23 just ended. We gotta do the June, the 2022.
Right.
Right.
I'm
they gonna investigate. They ain't gonna be able to do this year because they don't got nothing to, what, if you want them to do it for the year before, hey, go ahead.
I feel, Brother Lee, we should go back, see, when they come in, they can go back to the year, because with the last audit we got in 2021, it spoke about misappropriated fund, not our books and stuff was all out of order. That's corrected, they even asked us to correct it at one time. We got some situations in that audit, talking about the Civil Service Board, confused, we never did straighten out, that could come back on. We got, something about turn some over to the state police for investigation. We never did that. See, let's bring these people in so we can do, we're not accusing anybody, please don't take that there. But I really like to do what's good for the city of Bastrop. And the only way we do, we need a superior, the state, that's what they're there for, to come in and say, hey, look, here's where your mistake, here's what you need to correct, here's where, you know, you can go for, here's what you were. Here's your ratio, here's your financial rate, this is what the city is about. Mr. Goldman, I ask you that question, and if you can answer tonight, please do. If you can't, I understand. I understand, I don't put nobody on the spot. I know you wouldn't do.
I'm not qualified to do that.
Okay, I understand, and I understand it, but the state audited is, and we need to be in a timely manner. It ain't, it's just getting ourselves, like get our house in order. I like to come here once a month and be proud of what we're doing and how we can generate more revenues and we can expand our growth, new projects in our community, in our city, clean up. That's what I ran for. I didn't want to come here every week kicking that can back and forth and nobody get the answer. That's heartbreaking to me. And we have a motion on the floor. I think I heard a second. I'd like to make that motion. If I get a second. That's okay, man.
We make a motion, discussion got in, we just go ahead and do a vote.
I'd like to make a motion that the state art come in and look at our book, investigate our book, and bring us up to compliance where we need to be kicking the can back and forth. I'd like to make a motion that we really ask for a state audit investigation, make it sure. Let read like that. Mr. Jones, you get that?
Wait just a minute.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, would you weigh in on that?
There is, and I would ask you to listen, there are only criteria that the state auditor is allowed to come in and possibly do an audit or investigation. And it's limited by law.
Yeah.
One, and I'll go through them. One is the local auditee has failed after 30 days written notice from the legislative auditor to comply with provisions of the section relating to timely audits.
Okay, we at that stage, because they just told me, I just said, they say like to have it in 30 days. Go ahead, let's go to 2. I don't read it, but I'm gonna follow along with you. Come on.
The Legislative Audit Advisory Council and the legislative auditor determined the local auditee is unable to pay for an audit.
We don't know that, but we can't pay it, we haven't paid it yet. Go ahead.
But, so that one hasn't occurred. The local auditee exhibits a record of egregious control deficiencies and failures to comply with law and regulations.
We're not in compliance with the law and regulation because we're late. That's 3. Come
The
on,
4 is the legislative auditor auditor has received complaints of illegal or irregular acts with respect to the local auditee.
Like I said, let me address both. We're not in respect to our local audit right now because we haven't hired her. Basically now, she terminated, at this point, we don't even have an audit. Come on, let's vote. Let's go to 5, please.
5 is the local auditee, after requesting proposals for audit services, receives less than 3 proposals from licensed certified public accountants, or the local auditee receives 3 or more proposals and the local auditee rejects all proposals for cause, including but not limited to excessive cost.
Okay, now, 5, we have, clearly, attorney, if I'm wrong, what you said on 5, that we have not shopped out to see that we have, will a audit take our position?
Correct.
That's where we have 4 out of 5.
So that number 6.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
That number 6 there, that I just gave you, that was number 6.
Mm-hmm.
That one would just be that you didn't receive 3 proposals, so you couldn't vote on, or you received proposals and you rejected them for some cause, one of which could be excessive cost. Number 6 is, in the opinion of the legislative auditor and the Legislative Audit Advisory Council, the best interest of the state would be served by his audit of the local auditee. That's it.
I have a question.
Okay, wait just a minute, Mr. Bradford.
Mr. Bradford, have you spoken with somebody from the state
Yes,
about this?
Yes, I have. I've been informed that we can have a motion, we can ask for an investigation by the state.
So is
Now, but like I said, meeting some of those criteria, they said we had to meet them all. They were all with minutes.
Just have to meet one.
Yeah, the one. That's the thing. And we meet both.
In
That's right.
21, 22,
Yeah,
you
it's-
said it was some findings. Did you say, Ms. Sanders, was it some findings?
It was, there
No,
was
you
some
said
findings.
yourself.
We did have some findings, yeah.
Okay, I just said, you said it was some findings.
Yes, so
It's-
would you like to, can you possibly get it in writing, Mr. Bradford, so make sure it can make everything go smooth?
I'm sorry, Mr. Green.
Would you get it in writing? Maybe they can make everything go smooth from the
You said
state.
it right.
From
The
the
law
state.
is right. The law, he just said we can do it. It's right there. He reading law. That's law right there. And then that's the law. I don't research it, and I talked to people down there, they told me the same thing.
Mayor, can we call for the previous motion,
We need one
please?
of 5.
Yeah, I already made the motion.
Second, let's call for the, vote.
Okay, motion, restate your motion, so.
Motion, I'd like to make a motion that the city of Bastrop request the state auditor to come in and do an investigation on our book.
Okay.
The city of Bastrop. And I like to, Mr. Green, you spoke of a time frame, Jay Green, I like to say maybe 10 years. Because we got a lot of surplus not accounted for over there.
Okay.
In the 10-year period, we want to stipulate at least 10 years. That's before this administration, I think they go back to Mr. Jones and say, that right, 10 years ago.
What is this? We use this 23?
Yeah, they can go back 10 years.
Okay, let's be clear. Ms. Goldman, will you give this to, Mr. Jones? All right, okay, you got a motion. Now, let's be clear, so that you'll know what you are voting for. This doesn't mean a fiscal administrator taking over, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, thank you, Mr. Bradford.
If you like, once we do draft this motion up, in writing, you and Mr. Jones, we stipulate in that motion, we're not asking them to take over, we're just asking them to investigate. We're not asking for takeover. I hope we're not asking for takeover.
So you want them to come in and
Just
just
come
bring
in
out,
and correct our book and bring our books current and see where we have to go, make them
you
findings.
should say that in your
And we'll
motion.
know everything where we are, and then they'll be able to look at our financial status as well, what the city owns, how many trucks, how many epistles to buildings and property that we're leasing. We got property we're leasing, we're not getting anything for.
You should say that in your motion.
Yeah.
Say it in your motion.
Okay, he already made a motion, so,
This motion.
We just need to vote, I think.
go ahead, what, you want to wait on Mr.
And
Jones?
for clarity, Mr. Bradford, I have it down as a motion to have the state legislative auditor audit the past 10 years of the finances of the city of Bastrop.
Thank you.
That's your motion. Was there a second?
I think Mr. Green said,
Green said it.
Did you second it, Mr.
Yeah, I
J. Green? Mr. D. Green? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Roll call?
Ms. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Bradford?
Yes.
Mr. James
Yeah.
Green? Mr. Lott?
I'm gonna say no.
We got 4 yeses and 1 no.
Okay. Now,
Can you give me a printout, Mr. Jones, that motion, when you print it, I appreciate that.
Correct, I will. I just have it in a notepad, and when I get it typed up, I'll send it out.
and Mr. Jones, in looking at what I highlighted on there, need your guidance on how to reply to that to the state in terms of having that letter so that I won't have any projects held up,
Correct.
payments made, and money
Based-
coming in.
Based on the amount of gross revenue that you have, prior to the fiscal year each year, you're to adopt adopt an auditor for the municipal, for that budget cycle when you adopt the budget. You can be out of compliance with state law when you don't submit that, that's when they submit it back to us. It's the same law that they have the criteria, it's 24,513. That you,
Say that again for me.
they require you, because of your gross income amount that you have, it's based on your income that you have of gross revenue. They make you, but when you adopt the budget prior to the budget year, you have to also appoint or engage an auditor. And as Ms. Tappan stated correctly, once you engage an auditor, the only way either party can disengage is you have to actually go down to the legislative auditor and you have to petition them. Both parties are obligated to finish it once the engagement's signed.
Okay, saying that, can I speak, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, Miss.
Okay, saying that, I make a motion that we interview some other independent certified public accountants. Baton Rouge has a list of, I think about five pages of certified accountants. I would like to bring them in before the end of the month, because she did stress we need to move before the end of the month. That way we remain in compliance. So I'm making a motion that we do so, interview some companies before the end of the month.
I second that motion.
Okay. There's a motion to pursue other CPAs that meet the criteria. There's a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Roll call?
Ms. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Bradford?
Yes.
Mr. James Green? Mr. Deere Green? Mr. Lott?
Yes, but we have to understand that, yeah, it has to be done, but the bottom line is the mayor makes the appointment, we approve the appointment. We can interview, but it's not our job as a city council to, elect a, auditor. That's the mayor's job.
I think the motion, can I speak?
Question?
Okay.
No, we didn't vote for one, but I'm just speaking, I think, I want to speak on what Brother Locke said, he absolutely right. I think this audit that Mr. Scott talked about, should be shopped out. The mayor may want to shop some of them, it's still all right, she still can ask Ms. Haynes that she can get approved, or whoever, just bring some more people before us as well. That makes sense?
She don't have to, Mr. President. She don't have to.
She don't have to.
If we can shop it out, she can still come back and say she won't be hanging.
Well, I know, then we never said we don't, when we go back and
And
forth.
then we're gonna be out of compliance.
Well,
Kicking
get someone to put us in. I mean, I just really don't,
Well, I could rescind my motion and restate my motion.
no.
Let Ms. Tappan speak. She was the motion maker on the second one. Ms. Tappan, go ahead, speak.
Do I need to rescind my motion?
You can do a motion to reconsider because you're in the same session. You can do it, and since you were the prevailing party, you're allowed to make that motion.
Okay, so I'm making a motion to
Reconsider
reconsider.
the motion to interview.
Okay, I want to make a motion to reconsider the motion I made for us to interview, a certified. So,
And then we'll need a second.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Tappan, second by Mr. Locke. Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
So I'm gonna offer up another motion.
Now you can,
My motion is that the mayor should bring in independent certified public accountants in order for her to interview, and then she choose out of the selection, and then we vote.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a subsequent motion by Mrs. Tappan and second by Mr. Bradford. Was the second one?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Could you repeat the motion with the,
I'm making a motion that the mayor, since she has to appoint, that the mayor brings in independent certified public accountants to interview and then bring up, a name or a company for us to vote on.
Second. Oh, okay, he just need to clarify.
Okay.
But even in the process of interviewing, the last say so have everything to do on the mayor. She can interview 700 people, but it's only gonna be her liking who she wanna be for the city auditor.
But she still just won't, I think Ms. Tappan just won't
I get it.
open it.
I get it.
And the mayor probably come back to the same one, but she just saying, you know.
She might change, that's her option. That's the mayor.
Probably not, but she probably will. Probably not, but she just saying,
She a person.
we don't know what she gonna do. But Ms. Moore said, Ms. Tappan said she just won't let her interview something. We can't make her pick nobody. She just want to open the pool up. It's right. It's all right if she make a motion. And you second it, so we can't do nothing but vote on it. Discussion over.
call for the vote, Mayor.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So we clear, Mr. Jones?
correct. Correct, we are clear. And I have it wrote down.
Okay,
And then
thank you. Okay. And I'll just say this, I'll do what is in the best interest of the city. That is always at the heart of every decision that I make and that was why I said, where does that put us in terms of projects? The roof project, we just got awarded, $38,000. There's gonna be a hold on those fundings,
For what?
with where we are now.
Not having a city auditor when I put a hold on those fundings, Mayor.
Okay, what was in that letter?
But she told you the end of the month. Why would hold on it if they say, we're gonna give you to the end of the month?
She said, end of the month.
And I think these motions ask for a speedy response. I mean, I think the attorney should be preparing the motion to bring in the audit. He also should be preparing the motion to hire, to give the mayor permission to hire, actually, because the mayor know how fast we need it. And I'm sure, like she said, she's gonna do what's the best in the interest of the city, and she's gonna move expeditiously to get us an audit so we can go forward. She has said that she gonna do the best, so she'll not be there, and
Now,
that's
at
the
the
opportunity.
end of the month, then we probably, then she can pretty much say that, but I think she gonna do it expeditiously, Mayor, right?
Well, I always respond, that's why we have, extensions, is because I always respond in a timely manner. Those are things that I don't take for granted or lightly. I mean, I've dealt with things of this nature for many, many years, and my concern, and this, let's see, okay. I just didn't want any projects to be held up. I didn't want any money to be delayed. Mr. Jones, are we clear that 23 fiscal year end 6/23 and 6/30/2023? I think that we need to have that cleared up. Let's go. We have any pending money that we're waiting to come from the state? Well,
Yes, we will look at our parks project. There's something on the desk for you to sign on this, on it, to pay that.
And for clarity on that, the appointment of a CPA, it is discretionary on the legislative auditor if they want to put you in non-compliance.
Right.
Now, my history in dealing with them, if they determine what is going on appears to be moving forward and getting somewhere, but the law does say on the first of the fiscal year you're to have one. However, at this point, even in reading the email, they're aware that we don't have one, but it appears that we will have one, but understand it is discretionary on them. And sometimes in history, dealing with them, they have placed people on the non-compliance list just as a way to kind of dynamite the decision and make a decision. So just understand where we're at right now with them is we are not in compliance with that law, but they're making the discretion call not to place us on the non-compliance list.
I got a point of information, Mr. Jones.
Mr. J. Green?
So, he said we had to do it at the beginning of the fiscal year, right? It should have been done.
Correct.
So, if we just got this information last week, is it the council fault that we just received this? Is it the council fault that we didn't get it on the 15th of June?
You know,
No, I just want a up or down answer because you said we gonna be out of compliance at the end of the month, right?
well,
We
you're
may go
Wait,
away.
wait just a minute, Mr. J. Green. Let
You
him
out of
go.
order, you out of order, man. I'm trying to.
You're asking him a question, so let him answer it, and that way you can have some clarity.
I was not finished asking my question.
Okay.
I'm trying to get some clarity. So
Okay.
that's the only thing I'm trying to do is, so what I'm getting at is, it should have been done at the beginning of the year.
it should have been
What I'm
done
saying
before
is-
July 1.
We so far behind because we just get it. We like, what's the date? We just got it last week. So that's the problem. If we would've got this way back then, what I'm saying, we wouldn't even be going through these problems.
Best business practices would have, and the law says that you need to make the decision prior to the start of the fiscal year.
Right, that's the only question I was getting at. Mayor, I wasn't trying to insinuate anything.
The mayor can always send a letter requesting for additional time, we can hope they'll ask for some leniency due to our, we can find out, we go back to COVID, everybody get COVID.
Correct, we can sit and have dialogue with them.
Okay, we can.
Mayor, are we following the agenda? Can we go to the agenda? Yeah, we're not following the agenda.
Yeah, we have gotten off track, and my main concern is that we don't lose funding, that these projects that this administration has worked so hard for. So, okay, let's move on.
I'm sorry, there was one question on the agenda. You reestablished just informed us, we do have to September. Is that correct, Mr. Jones? Are you correct?
I wrote the letter requesting we have to September 29th.
Okay, great. I just want to tighten up, sound like everybody think about next month. Okay, fine.
It was a telephone conversation that I had that they urged that we have one in place by the end of this month. Okay?
We'll go back to the
All right, let's move on to item number 6.
We didn't do number 5.
Well, number 5 was
We never oh, so
Instead of electing to, we did get to it, we just, y'all elected to 2 motions. One was to get more CPAs, another one
Okay.
was to,
I
so
didn't know she had.
it just failed because there was no vote on the auditor.
Gotcha. Good deal.
We on the same page now? Resolution number 6, item number 6, resolution 23-2045, resolution amending the consolidated budget, general fund, and all special funds for revenues and expenditures for the city of Bastrop for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, and ending June 30, 2030. I'll entertain a motion. That's on number 6, Mr. Green, Mr. J. Green. Resolution 23-2045, resolution amending the consolidated budget, general fund, and all special funds for revenues and expenditures for the city of Bastrop, Louisiana for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023.
That's the budget we was trying to, that's not this year, but last year's, the amendment.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to let the vote on it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
No, wait a minute, I'm sorry. What?
Mr. J. Green made the motion on item number 6.
Yeah, well, I got the discussion on it, make sure I'm understanding the right one here. This is 22, 23. Mr. Green was on the board and I wasn't either, during them term. I don't think you also on the term. That's the one you asked a question about.
No, that is the one, the amendment about the pay, that
Hey,
about the attorney stuff on this one right here. Number 6.
look at number 6.
That's the one that we was gonna let the auditor take care of. That's the thing I just said, we kicked it down the
auditor
can.
But we don't have all of Mr. Green. If we pass that tonight.
I didn't say pass it. You don't-
Well, we're making a motion to approve that tonight.
No, I didn't make a motion to approve, I said a vote up or down on it. You either gonna approve it or we gonna disapprove it. That's it, we wanna vote on it, cause you just keep tabling it. You gotta vote on it soon, like, if we don't want it, we don't want it. We just end it right here. If we wanna vote it down, let's vote it down tonight.
What we doing is we amending 22, 23, meaning that any expenditures that was overspent,
Right.
the moment you guys say, yes, I do, you guys approve those expenditures.
From last year.
That's right, so if those was unnecessary expenditures, hence paying Mr. Jones previous, then you will approve that spending by amending this budget.
And this,
Mr. Jones, you wanna weigh in on that?
And for posture, it was tabled at the meeting, so it has to come up in the next
Right.
meeting. You gotta table it to a certain date, so it's just been tabled, there's been no action on it. So at this point, Mr. James Green appears to have made a motion to call for a vote on it.
oh, okay.
And then, there was a second on that, there'll be a vote on it. So it's not, keeps tabling from meeting to meeting, when we table it.
All right.
Thank you, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Okay, Mr. J. Green made the motion. Who seconded it?
No, he made the motion to call the vote.
Vote, yeah, right, I want some clarity before we vote. This is a no means that we not gonna consolidate, just for the record. All right, vote, there you go, vote.
Okay, all in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
Yes, opposed.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Tappan,
No.
Mr. Radford,
No, that means that.
Mr. James Green,
No.
Mr. Billy Green,
No.
Mr. Locke.
Okay.
I'm through with this.
All right, item number 7. Resolution 23-2046, a resolution adopting the consolidated budget general fund and all revenue funds for revenues and expenditures for the city of Bastrop, Louisiana for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024. Okay, you have, some options in front of you. And these, you have multiple options because of different dialogue that took place in the council meeting. So that explains why you have so many options. It's not that anybody desires to inundate anybody with a bunch of paperwork.
Mayor, can I
Yes,
say
sir.
something?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to introduce another, resolution. And this is, from the council, this is from me, as another option. I think I put one. I think I did.
I might have to. Is this it,
I bet you.
yeah, I have one,
Oh,
I had two.
you took it. And this one is just to give a $2 base pay to all full-time employees. No exception dates, just everyone. Just excluding, of course, elected officials and, contract employees.
I have a question too, Mayor, before we proceed.
Mr. D. Green?
As I look at, the budget they approve and the second option, I haven't had a chance to look at your option, Ms. Moore. Ms. Sandra, your revenue exceeds your expense, what do you do at that moment?
If the revenue exceeds it stays in the bank and it's rolled over for the next year, you have a surplus.
Well, you can't adopt it, by law, you're not supposed to adopt a budget if the revenue and the expenses don't match. So in order, what you're supposed to do
You
is,
have more money than you do, expenditures.
by law, when you do a budget, you gotta have a balanced budget by law.
Now, balance, you just cannot spend, you can put money back.
So that.
Your expenditures cannot over your revenue.
Right, that's what I was saying. So in other words, what you do is you showing the difference in the 3 million and 4 million, you're gonna take that away from the fund account.
Well, it's in the bank, you just roll it over to the next year.
Yeah, so that's you're gonna implement this to balance the budget out. I
Is
just
that the
wanna-
general fund?
Yeah,
It is in your,
So the council, if we want to use the general fund, so we can, it's in the general fund?
Well, that's where it's gotta
It's not
be.
been appropriated?
right, where you're
Gotta be.
appropriated when you do your budget.
yeah, you gotta, you gotta have, by law, you have to have it, you can't just have it in the bank. By law, when you do a budget, your budget have to balance. So, in order for this budget, and by law, you cannot vote on the budget that the revenue is, the expenses exceeds the revenue. That's law. So in other words, you need to come back with another budget showing that the general funds, you take that amount out of the general funds to make the budget balance. None of you guys supposed to vote on an unbalanced budget, and that's law. And matter of fact, she called me today, the accountant from the state.
Mr. Jones, you wanna weigh in on that?
If we can vote, we can call it law.
Sorry. You do have the Louisiana Budget Act that requires a balanced budget.
Right.
You can't propose a budget that would place the town in a negative.
Right.
And so, at that point, I believe, and correct me, Councilman Dickering, the issue is, can you use the money that's in the general fund to balance the budget?
Yes.
And yes, you can. It counts as the funds available to be able to balance out the
But
budget.
you gotta have it implement in the budget. What I'm saying is you can utilize the money that's in the general funds. I stated that. But when you're doing your budget, it has to be a line item showing that you're utilizing this particular amount from the general funds. You can't just say, hey, I'm gonna vote on an upside down budget just because I have the money in the general funds.
That is correct. You have to show
Right.
on it a transfer from the general to
Right.
what is the supplemental to be able to supplement it out.
Right.
So that whenever that number comes in, it's not that we have a negative that year. It's
Right.
that we had a zero, but there was a transfer from general to there.
And by law, you guys cannot, she gotta redo this budget in order for us to adopt this budget. You might can make amendments showing that she gonna transfer it, right, Debbie?
You
I'm
can
not
make a
sure.
line item,
Yeah.
Do we strike the paragraph? You can make a motion to strike the paragraph.
That's why I said, hey, the $3 million and $4 million when you guys voted for this budget, they mean it's gonna be $3 million, whichever budget you guys voted for, it's gonna be $4 million or $3 million is coming out your general fund. I didn't vote on it, so I can't, you guys voted on it.
I made the motion on
Maybe you guys voted for it.
Let's go back and get back on track.
we're talking about last week's motion. Last week, we got 6 7.
Okay, we're on
23.
item number 7, resolution 23-2046, a resolution adopting the consolidated budget, general fund, and all special revenue funds for revenues and expenditures for the city of Bastrop, Louisiana for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024.
Mayor, can I say something right quick, cause I forgot something.
Ms.
I misspoke when I said $2 an hour raise for any full-time employees for the city of Bastrop, with the exception of the fire department, which will receive $1.60 pay raise, and continue no raise for any contract employees. So I misspoke, and it will be option 5 because I didn't know you was gonna have an option 4. Okay, tonight. So option 5.
Okay, option 5, one thing that I do caution, and I say this for the record, is that let's take into consideration our revenues, next year's revenues, and you had on one of these attachments, number 4, were all non-civil service employees. I don't know if you have had time to peruse that and take a look at it. That's on option 4, all employees other than civil service employees where.
I think we gotta back up to the original budget before we even go this far, because he's saying we voted on something that shouldn't be voted on, so you can't move forward to somebody make the proper motions to add the paragraph, strike the paragraph, or something, because you voting on something that you just said was not accurate. So first of all, you got to correct the problem before you move forward.
Yeah.
And council, how we do that? Do we do it through amendment or strike the paragraph, add a paragraph? What do we have to do?
So what you can do is you can make a motion to line item amend the budget so that it reflects a transfer. And then from there, you can also consolidate it with whatever motion whatever proposed resolution amendment you're going to do.
Write it up and make it right.
We need a motion, I think. I'd like to make a motion that we make the necessary correction to the budget and transfer the necessary funds.
You gotta know the funds, Ms. Burke. You gotta, if you look on the back of your page, you wanna know, you don't have, from my advice to you, I would tell you, you should wanna know what you transferring. What you can transfer $3 to $4 million. This is what I'm saying. Follow me. The same thing we was trying to say last meeting. By you doing this, in the way this budget written up, next year the city will be completely broke. Your general fund at the moment is $6 million. Right now you can transfer $4 million. If you don't take on a surplus, that means the year after that, what you're gonna transfer?
Well, we gotta remember, I think we're 33% over budget myself.
But now you over budget. That's what I stated. That's why I stated before you guys adopted the budget. You over budget. The initial budget you can take the 22-23 budget and you can utilize whatever you guys trying to do. Now what you guys did was you guys took the 23-24 proposed budget and adopted this over budget, which means that you didn't take on a deficit 22-23. Now you're taking on a $3 to $4 million deficit in 23-24.
Well, let's do what's necessary, Mr. Ring. You feel it's right, though. You are CPA.
When you over budget,
One at a time.
I can't.
Mr. D. Green, are you finished?
No, ma'am. It's hard to make the decision in front of right now, because Ms. Sandra apparently, whenever calculation she did, she got her numbers to do that. So what I'm saying is, it's hard to make that type of, hey, I don't want to make the call to transfer $3 million, because I got to think about so on and so on and so on. Now we're in a point we don't have to borrow to make ends meet. We're in a point right now we continue, because Ms. Sandra, last year, the 22-23 budget, did we take on a deficit or we was in the black? See, this is what I'm saying. Now y'all follow me. Just follow me like I tried to say last meeting. I guess I gotta keep saying it. So if you take the 22-23 budget and you utilize the surplus that was there to give your raises, you could have. Now what you guys did now was.
I say you guys, I spoke to you about that too.
When I say you guys, I mean you voted. So you was one of the ones that voted. So when you adopted the 23-24 budget, it's over budget.
I've been saying that from day one.
One at a time.
Okay, I've been saying that that's the whole strategy. I've been preaching that. When you look at the budget, it is way inflated, right? I've been saying this from day one, and I get what he's saying. And I've been saying it. When you over budget something, you take away from something, now you're gonna transfer it out of that fund when you don't have to. Because when you look at the police department, I was gonna be like 124,000 or whatever. They had 300,000 they gave back. So why overinflated with the salaries when you don't have to? And that's every department they gave back. So what you done is you done overinflated each department, and now you're gonna take it out of the general fund. But it's gonna come back at the end. Money always mysteriously reappear at the end of the year when you over budget something. But now you're gonna take it out of the general fund when you don't have to, because you over budgeted.
You have to according to this budget that you guys adopted. You, like, normally when you budget a particular line item, you can't move it from this particular place to the next one. If anything, you can take it, put it back in your general funds. From general funds, if anything falls short, you can cover it, but you won't be able to do that until after the end of the year. You can't just take out, if I'm gonna budget $300,000 and then out.
Well, that's different from that's why we talking about at the end of the year. We said the difference between a resolution and an ordinance. We did this budget by resolution. So technically, we can come in anytime we want to and move anything around. When you do it by ordinance,
Right.
It's that law.
Right.
It's that you can't move it. But a resolution, we can come in next week and say, hey, we want to move X, Y, and Z. But doing a resolution, doing a resolution, that's what you can do. That's why we were so late. I think that's why we went down this road, because we so late. Because amendment is concrete. You're right. If you do it by amendment, it's stuck there until the end of the year.
I agree with you saying, but when you make a certain amount for, just say for example, for salaries, you don't want to come in the middle of the year and do a resolution to move that money. You shouldn't move that money until after the end of the year when you know what you utilize, and you won't have to move it because it go back to general funds, right, Ms. Anderson?
Yes, sir.
So you can tie it up once you place it a budget. Once you place the amount for a line item, it's there until the end of the year. Unless you underspend and you overspend and you have to use your general fund to take care of it. But just because you budget $300,000 for salary and you go into the middle of the year, you say, hey, I'm gonna take $100,000. You shouldn't do that because you never know what's gonna happen.
Mr. Bradford?
Well, I hear you, Mr. Green, D. Green. I'm agreeing with both Greens, but let's do, long as we take care of the raises for the employees in this budget, and can do it where whatever most benefits to the city, because remember, we're working for the city, let's do it. I mean, whatever we need to do for these people to get their raises and live their lives and go forward, let's do it. Whatever, you made a suggestion to the clerk, and you all talk about it, we come up with some agreement, but let's do it and move on. Mr. Green.
But she
agree with you.
She did she factoring those raises. I'm not denying it. She did. She factoring on the budget y'all adopted. It's a $2 raise. But what we saying is, Ms. Sandra, correct me if I'm wrong, if we continue to move like how this budgeting, in 2 to 3 years, it won't be nothing in the general funds. Unless we have a surplus.
Wait just a minute, Mr. Bradford.
Right.
Because every year, your health insurance goes up, we're gonna have to change that coming up. Employees gonna have to pay more. And then, most every year, your retirement goes up.
Okay,
We're sitting here, we got police officers sitting here, we got firemen sitting here, and the only question they want to know,
Are they gonna get
are they gonna get their raise? Okay, we're going back and forth, but all those people want to know, those employees want to know, and we got public work, are they gonna get their raises? We need to find an option, but we keep going back and forth, looking at the budget. And I agree with you, Reverend Bradford. This is just taking too long, and those guys and those ladies are working to know, are we gonna do right by the city?
Well, once you adopted the budget last year, y'all already adopted raises. Now from that moment, it's on this administration. You guys have already adopted the budget. Y'all did your job by saying y'all want everybody to get a raise. That budget been passed. That's all the city council can do. We can't do nothing else. Y'all adopt the budget, y'all did y'all part. The rest of it is on the administration. So they don't need to ask the council. They need to turn their attention over to the mayor or the clerk. Because you guys already have said, hey, we want them to have raises. Hey, we'll accept this budget. Hey, get them raises. But that's all we can do as councilmen. We can't do nothing else. To give the raise is absolutely everything on the administration. So we can be clear, because some city workers be thinking that you guys already approved it. So you budget for that. That's why we got the budget we have. Now from this point for them to get it out of our hands.
Okay.
Anything, you wanna weigh in, hold your thought, Mrs. Tappan? You wanna weigh in on that, Mr.?
And for clarity, we have a motion and a second to amend the line item so that it shows a transfer from the general fund.
Correct.
And that's where we're at as discussion right now.
So I'll call for the vote.
Okay. Have a motion, we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Roll call?
Ms. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Bradford?
Yes.
Mr. Jay Green?
Yes.
Mr. Deere Green?
No.
Mr. Lott?
Yes.
Are we back on the same page again?
I got everything.
Oh, no, I've been paid good. Is your thing bring me a bind or something? Okay.
Purpose of the men for y'all to
Let's listen to,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I have to push this little speaker button. I'm sorry, Mr. Locke, Councilman Locke. Where you're at is you're still in item 7 on the resolution with any proposed amendment that anybody wants to try and effectuate pay raises. To force it, and I believe Mr. Green has stated his position. We've kind of discussed all of it, and now it's time for that.
So we need to vote on which option we want, right?
If you want to vote an option.
and let me do some intro before you go into full discussion. I ask that you take in consideration, the revenue. I think Mr. D. Green has addressed that. I think Mr. J. Green has weighed in. I think Mr. Bradford, you weighed in about 4 or 5 times in this. This Tappan weighed in about 10 times, and Mr. Locke had his say. But let me say this so that we can be clear. We want to, and I believe we can agree that we all want to run a balanced budget and have a surplus at the end of the year. I do ask that you take a look at that option where all other non-civil service employees, and I've listened to you each time, and I've made notes on what your thoughts are. I think you want to be fair. You want everybody to get something. I think that's been the consensus that we agree on, right? We want to take in consideration longevity so that employees who have stayed with us, that they feel rewarded. Because institutional knowledge means a lot. We want to take in consideration disasters that may happen. We're facing a crisis right now with this air conditioner, and I'm working night and day looking for monies. Now, I don't know that we're going to be able to get $3.6 million. We're looking at every option that we possibly can. So we need to take in consideration those emergencies. And also having the ability to compete, because most grants require some type of match, even if it's 10%. If this the final analysis comes in on the air conditioner, let's say the HVAC system costs $3 million. If it's a 10% match, we got to take that under consideration. And I'm one big for applying for grants, and I'm thankful, truly humble and thankful of the grants that we've gotten so far. That's why I didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize that. But we did have to supplement the Love Louisiana grant. We got $400,000, and thankfully we had rescue money that we were able to complete projects which totaled to $500,000. We had to add $100,000 to that. So we want to be able to function. We don't want to get to a point where we have given, I want every employee to feel valued and appreciated, but not to the point where we have to lay them off and they have nothing, or so far into the retirement system and say, oh gosh, I got 10 years in and I'm this age and I'm going to have to be furloughed or laid off. So I take it that you will take in consideration the overall budget and what we're operating with. So now, I propose something. If you look at your last page, you're looking at all non-civil service employees, every employee that's non-civil service would get at least a $1 increase, and added to that, looking at the years of service. Add it up, because the $2 was put out there in the domain, everybody's just kind of wondering, everybody gonna get a $2 raise, so looking at what that $2 with all non-civil service employees, looking at what that impact would have on the budget, okay? So just kind of look at that for a brief minute. If somebody has one, you have the number of employees. Those with 10 years plus, there are 10 employees total. So those 10 employees would get that $2 raise. They would get the $1, and then they would get 10 cents an hour up to 10 years. On down the line, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, down to 1 year. And with 1 year of experience, they get $1.10. So at this point, and I just wanted to put those things out there, if we look at what we may be faced with, we don't want to end up in a deficit. I think Mr. D. Green has talked about that, Mr. J. Green, so, okay. At this point,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So how much would a person walking in the door get? Would their base salary be raised or would remain the same?
Okay, very good question, Mrs. Taggart. I think this approach raises that. In fact, we had a situation the other day where 2 employees were hired, and it really is getting harder and harder to find employees at the rate that is being paid. As we know that the cost of living has gone up, but we have also had to be very prudent in terms of the decisions that we make. So already with whatever the lowest paid employee, that has been factored into consideration. So, yes, sir.
I got it. The reason that we came about this resolution,
Yes,
I
sir.
understand what you're saying, but the reason we came about, we was trying to close the gap. The starting salary was the sticking point. Both chiefs said that the problem was that it was too low starting off. Public Works said it's too low starting off. Now the problem is when you give, that's where we want to exclude certain, sectors like part-time, because this is what's gonna happen. If you give a $1 raise, if you get $2 hour raise, and this is factual, the police officer starting off at $13.50. If you give them a raise, that's gonna put $2, that's gonna put them at $15.50, right?
Okay.
And the security guards are already making $15 an hour. You're gonna put them at $17 an hour.
No, sir.
I got the papers right here.
Wait, just
hold up. You cut me off. You ain't let me finish, man.
Let me correct something.
No.
You don't have full-time. I'm talking about, I said non-civil service full-time employees.
No, my point is that I'm getting that right here. But go ahead.
The security, you're talking about the security guards that we have out front?
Yes, that's not, they're part-time.
They make $15 an hour?
No.
How much our police officers make?
Depends on what rank and all that.
Starting off.
Starting off, well, it was,
$13.50.
13, 15, and now it's moved at the y'all gonna give them $2, it's gonna be 15.
So,
But they're part-time.
Well, in my option, and I'll let the mayor finish with hers, my option excludes part-time employees.
And so did
I didn't see this top.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
I
J.
didn't see
Green.
the top. But the problem is that we're getting away from where we started from. The goal was to improve, poor people above the poverty line, because we all said that they're not making enough. You talk to each department, they can't recruit because the bottom pay is too low. Not at the top, but when you deal with the fire department, police department, you've got some criteria you gotta meet. So therefore, when we said $2 an hour, we wasn't trying to just bump everybody up, but if you want to bump everybody up, the problem was trying to bridge the gap, trying to squeeze it, but not from the top down, from the bottom up, going from 9 something to 11 something. not trying to go, most companies, they cut at the top. You wanna cut the top man out, because that's where all the money is. But not us, we trying to pull from the bottom up, because that's when you say they don't got no workers. When you talk to anybody, they say the wage is too low. The wage is too low. And that's what this, all about the $2 came about, because you want to give those people a raise. But that's why we said we want to put some exclusion. She got in her exclusion. Because we don't want no problem, because you just moving the bar. If you just give everybody $2, you're moving the bar. You're not shrinking the gap. If that makes sense.
Okay.
You just keep moving the bar. You're moving the bar up and up, but ain't nothing shrinking. Only thing is getting costlier and costlier. So that's what I want to talk about this. We said $2 an hour, and Ms. Moore made a proposal. Let's stick to what we said we was gonna do, because a dollar is not gonna solve your problem on the bottom. If you're gonna give a person on the bottom, ain't been here but a year, you ain't giving them but $1. And you said you was gonna give them $2 at the bottom. That was the whole goal, was to raise up, not top down. If that makes sense.
Okay, so what do you do, and I'm asking a question now,
I'll answer.
I know you will, I have absolutely no doubt. When you have, and I still love you too,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
can't do nothing about it,
All right.
I don't think, but anyway. We looked at a lot of things, and overall, we looked at the budget. So, it is my question, is it your desire to see that everybody gets a $2 raise that's non-civil service, just across the board?
No, man, we're not trying to bust it, but see, you got your plan, and we implemented our plan. We looking at your plan, but we saying that your plan is going from the top down, because you gotta have a bunch of years to get $2.
Okay.
The goal was to get $2 at the bottom, not at the top. People at the top already doing pretty good. So you gonna give them another $2 raise, but the man on the bottom, he gonna get $1, because he ain't been here but 1 year, 2 years, but you wanna attract workers in public work. You're not gonna do that. You have to start from the bottom up.
Okay, your point is well taken. We looked at an option, where we did it another way, and I've looked at, I'm like y'all, I've looked at so many budgets that I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. I'll figure that out later, but we looked at an option where an employee who has institutional knowledge was only gonna get 40 cents an hour. So I'm open. What is your suggestion, taking into consideration what it would do to the budget overall?
Okay, I got a point of information. You said the knowledge. So knowledge comes with experience, right?
Yes, sir.
Experience comes with being on the job. And more likely, they probably paid a pretty good amount of money. You know why I know? Because I'm holding the numbers right here. It is right here. Numbers don't lie. Salaries don't lie. It is right here. The bottom part is the problem, not the top. We trying to alleviate the problem at the bottom, because we can't get workers because of the bottom wages. Police department, fire department can't do nothing about it. All other departments, and matter of fact, just to think about it, the mayor could give a raise at any time she wants to in the department. She can just come in and say, hey, we're gonna give a $300 raise.
Excuse me.
Let Mr. J. Green.
I'm thinking,
And I hear everybody clearly too, and both of you right, nobody's wrong. But this is my suggestion to solve the problem. See, if you give the bottom the $2 and don't give it to the top, you look at your top employees, they've been there for 10, 20 years. That's gonna be a problem. I mean, if I've been on the job for 20 years and you give me a $1 raise and give a guy just come in $2 raise, I'm about ready to quit.
I don't think they're gonna quit making $35, $40 an hour when they ain't making but 10.
Hold on a minute, what I'm trying to say is, one solution, this is mine, I think, man, give everybody a raise, and let's close the books. And we work with them, give everybody $2, and, you know, anybody come in new, under new guidelines.
Right.
But the people that been here over a year, to some of them been here 20 years, 30, give everybody $2, and let's see, can we focus on bringing revenue, but we can meet now and start thinking, we know we gotta generate more revenue. Let's start planning as a city government, making money, bringing revenue to our city. But right now, if you give it to the, but I agree with you, Brother Green, it's not closing the gap, but we're moving forward, we're moving on. But those guys at the top have been there 10 years or more. That's the unhappy feeling. I mean, seniority is very important on the job. That means he's dedicated to the job. And we don't want to turn nobody that's been dedicated to the job because we decided to get someone with 2 years, 3 years experience at the bottom, $2, and get him $1.50. You see what I mean? It goes both ways.
I wasn't talking about the budget we proposed. We proposed $2 an hour. I'm talking about, I'm with you.
Okay.
Follow me on this. I'm with you. I'm for giving everybody $2 an hour growth.
Okay.
I'm looking at, you just got to see what she said on her proposal. It's going by years. I'm with you, Mr. Brett.
Okay.
I'm talking about on this thing here, she's going by years. It's punishing people that not been on the job long enough and rewarding people that's been on there long enough. I just say $2 across the board with a few exceptions. With a few exceptions, and they know, and I don't want to get into this, I made an exception for the security guards and all that, so they wouldn't exceed the police department bottom rate. That's the only reason. It ain't nothing personal. It's just that, it create a problem when you play $17 an hour and you're going to pay a police officer $15 an hour. That's not fair. That's not right at all. And they on the street risking their lives, but, you can stand at the door and make more. Which job do you want? So that's the only reason I made an exclusion. It ain't nothing personal. It's just the facts that if you give them a raise, you're going to push them to $17 an hour, and then you defeat the purpose because they still ain't going to make a $15.50.
Mr. J. Green, I think we cleared up the guards. Security people are part-time anyway, and they were not included.
No, that's in your resolution. I'm talking about in our resolution. We want to exclude them in the resolution that we want to propose, because I don't think we're going to look at that one. I think Ms. Angela already made a motion with the resolution.
Okay.
And I want to
Ms.
add
Tapp had something she wanted to say.
And when we were talking about the raises, I think Chief Reed said it best. When we were talking about probably moving the bar up on the top level and possibly just giving the people on the bottom level a little bit, he was like, that ain't gonna work. He wanted, because it was gonna make too much of a divide in his department, if I can remember right. He said it was gonna create a divide, and that's the one thing you don't need, is division while people trying to work, because you'll find they will not work together. So let's be fair and give everybody this $2 across the board, and that way you won't have any division. And I think we'll be able to move forward again.
And I think you might be okay, Ms. Sandra, let me ask you a question. For the police department salaries, how many slots did you budget for?
25.
Okay, Chief, now I need your help, Chief. Can you stand up for me for 1 second? Chief,
Yes.
how many police officers do you have?
Got 16.
You have what?
16 full-time, 2 part-time.
So how many more do you need to be up and running?
To be up and running at this point, I need,
Just realistic, like.
realistically, I need about 6 to 7 more officers to have full shifts.
So how many do you have now? Total 16?
Yes. So that's the total department is 16.
Officers.
Are you asking how many officers on patrol I have? I have 7.
So Ms. Sanders, the police department total, you budget for the police officers? How many police officers did you budget for?
The whole officers and everything was 25. That's with the chief, the assistant chief, the detectives, and patrol was 25.
But even if you,
And that's probably, and that's probably throughout the fire department and public works, right? We have, we get more slots than people available for them, right?
This vacancies we've got.
So it's because,
Okay, I have that we have 8 vacancies, but we could use 9
police department?
Yeah, and I counted, 7, I think, for the fire department. We've got 5 vacancies in the street, we filled 2 of them, I think, Monday. We've got 4 in parks, and I have 2 in administrative.
Okay, Chief, have you looked at the budget for the police department?
Yes.
Cause I was gonna try to just give you some advice. Just say you got 9 slots that's been budgeted.
Right.
So if just say you can get by 4 or 5 police officers, I mean, you got 4 extra slots, which will kind of will cover those raises, because her concern is giving raises but don't wanna exceed what we bring in, right, Ms. Sandra?
We don't wanna do that.
Yeah, you don't wanna do that, but the reason I say that because previous years, what been happening is Ms. Sanders just been budgeting, not saying she's doing it wrong, how she been budgeting is she been budgeting for even for the people for the sites that's been vacant. Meaning that if you go over your department, you realize that I'm not gonna utilize all these things, meaning that you give a raise, because what you don't wanna do is you wanna come to the point where you create these raises and it exceed, what you budgeted for.
But not saying you don't get your officers.
Get your officers, but I was just giving you some advice in every department.
Okay, let's
All the departments.
let's make sure that we keep that line of demarcation between legislation and administration, and not give a directive to the chief here in a public forum when the law clearly states it's the mayor that gives direct orders. So, what was your point? You're making a recommendation as a councilman.
What you saying, Mayor? I don't understand, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, what was your point, your recommendation for consideration?
Mayor, I was-
No, Mr. Green, Mr. J. Green, Mr. D. Green.
You said, what you said that I couldn't call chief up and ask chief a question?
What I'm saying is, let's keep that line of separation or protection of giving an employee a directive to how to staff, but your point is taken in terms of legislation.
It wasn't a point, it was more for advice, like just so to help.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, weigh in, Mr. Jones.
I was gonna get y'all back on task with what was going on. We're good.
Did you want to weigh in on that, Mr. Jones?
No, not at all. There is administrative duties, the chief does answer to the mayor. I think everybody's just kind of conversating and going across resolutions.
And I got one information for Mr. Council. We got a right to question, if we paying them, we got a right to call them before us and ask them any question we want, and we also can subpoena them if the mayor don't allow them.
Investigate things. But what you have to be careful of is discussing individuals' employment, performance, and duties without following the proper notice. There is 2 different notice provisions that relate. One that relates to employees and one relates to department heads. So just be cautious whenever you're having that dialogue. If it didn't fall within the parameters of the agenda or the specific things, there are personal rights of actions that people can't take regarding that.
I was just trying to
Can
shine
we
light.
get back to the issue at hand, please? Back to the issue.
Excuse me, Mr. Locke.
Yeah. Do we have a motion about the $2 or what?
Yeah,
Okay, there's a motion. Who made the motion?
I made the motion, proposing my, resolution, and this option 5. Well, it's no 5 on it, so it's one with no number.
Could you read your resolution?
Sure.
Pardon me, Mayor, I apologize.
Okay,
Go ahead,
mine,
Mr. Locke.
okay. It's in section 6, and it says, any employee of the Bastrop City Police Department shall receive a $2 an hour raise. An employee of the City of Bastrop Fire Department shall receive $1.60 an hour raise. Other than an employee of the Bastrop City Police or the Bastrop City Fire Department, any non-contract full-time employee of the City of Bastrop at the time of adoption of this resolution shall receive a $2 an hour raise.
So that's for all city employees, is that just for
Full-time, yes ma'am.
your recommendation?
Full-time employees with the exception of the fire department, they would really receive $1.60 an hour.
Okay. For clarity, I'm gonna call Mr. Williams, Chief Williams, so we can be clear on how that's differentiated, because there's a scale in place for the fire department.
I think she made a motion. You gotta be acting on by the second, then carry on by a vote, man.
Correct.
Okay.
Motion, then a second, then you can discuss.
You got a second?
Correct, Mr. Walker on a second, and now you can
We have
discuss.
a motion, a second. Discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Mr. Chief is standing
You
up.
calling the chief up here?
Yes,
Man, we
sir.
don't, council just don't do things to be doing. When we came up with this number, it was because we networked, we tried to talk it out. And I'm gonna let the chief explain to you how we come up with this 160. Go ahead, Mr. Chief.
Well, I called the chief up here so that for clarity, that the difference in that $2 and the why that's $1.60, and when all of the others is $2.
Yeah, I came up with $1.60. So originally I'd been working with the mayor and Sandra for about a year now, and I did propose $1, but our pay scale is different than the rest of them. You can't give across the board raises. But when everybody was proposing $2 an hour, you still can't just give every fire department employee $2 an hour. So to be fair, that would give my captains $2 an hour, actually $1.99. That's as close as I can get. That's where the $1.60 went. Starting pay will be raised $1.60 an hour, and the scale goes up from there up to a district chief. So that's where the $1.60 come from. We can't do across the board. And it does need to be clarified, because you don't want to say you're giving everybody $2 at the bottom, because then the rest of that is going to go higher. So that's where I'm.
So with this proposal, would that be all right? This recommendation?
Yeah, this is my recommendation. Yeah, I had one, like I said, no bones about it. I came in lower than what y'all was proposing for all employees, but when y'all proposed $2 for all employees, I came back and, because it really wasn't fair for our guys. We was kind of getting short end of the stick, so I redone the numbers, and $1.60 is where we need to be where y'all are trying to be with all other employees.
Thank you, Chief.
I want to make it clear,
Yes, sir, Mr.
because I don't want to
J.
misinterpret. When I say network, I'm talking about talking to different department heads, not council members. When I say coming up at these numbers, we just talked and brainstormed as what'll be good for each department. So I don't want to get it misconstrued like we networking amongst each other outside of the public forum. No. No, I just want the record to be clear. I don't want no misunderstanding. I don't need no ethical violation. That's not what I was referring to. I was referring to talking to the chiefs and find out what they wanted, what was in the best interest of the day department. So that's what I say when network. I'm talking about talking to the department heads and finding out what they need and what their desires were. I was not talking about these council members. I reiterate that. No, I got to make sure that it's for the record.
No, I had questions. You wasn't on the council member that called me. I had
Well,
questions
thank
from
God.
more than
All
one,
right.
and they wanted to know, because pay is a little difficult to understand with fire department. We do different hours, and like I said, we're mandated by law with percentage raises. So there was questions from more than one council.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Green, did you have any questions for Chief Officer?
Call for the vote, Mayor.
Mr. Locke?
Call for the vote.
Call for the vote.
Ma'am? Me, sir?
Call for the vote.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have a second, we had discussion, all in favor? Any opposed?
I have to abstain because I didn't vote on the budget right then.
You don't have to stay, no, if you didn't vote on the budget. You're allowed to vote on any.
Oh, yeah, for the raises, yes. Yes, for the raises. I didn't vote on the budget.
Okay,
Let me say that again, yes, for the raises.
all right. Let's do a roll call, make sure I'm back on the right page.
Ms. Abbott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. James Green?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Terry? Mr. Locke?
Yes.
Five yeses.
All right.
Concludes the
John,
agenda.
anything else we need to offer for clarity before we walk away from this public meeting?
No, I think I'm good on what the two resolutions were.
May I call for adjournment?
Okay.
I said-
I mean, well,
Wait, I know you're gonna get out of here. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make that motion.
Second.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.